A Roth may be a good idea, but it may not be the best idea. In this episode, I'm going to address head-on the answer to the question, when is a Roth conversion a good idea? Well, I have a little ditty that goes, good, better, best. Never let it rest. Never let it rest till good gets better and better gets best. A Roth may be a good way to go, far cry from the best way to go, and I'm going to prove why. So I'm Doug Andrew. I've been a retirement planning specialist for more than 46 years. In fact, I help thousands of my own clients optimize their financial assets and prepare for retirement where they will not outlive their money if they live to be 120. But then in 2001, 2002, when my first self-published book became a national bestseller, and long story short, Time Warner Business Books commissioned me to write several more, and I was blessed to have a New York Times, Wall Street Journal #1 bestseller in 2007. It was called Last Chance Millionaire, written to baby boomers. Now I have written 11 books. I'm passionate about educating people like you. In fact, so much so, I let all my professional licenses automatically expire. I didn't renew them at the end of 2005 to become a consumer advocate. To sell my recipe instead of selling the cake, I made my competitors my customers, and I actually had over 3,000 CPAs, tax attorneys, and financial advisors come through a 3-day training, and they would pay $6,000 in tuition to learn things that they were not taught when they got their licenses or whatever. This was advanced continuing education. It's interesting how many financial advisors do not understand that a Roth may be a step in the right direction for many people, but it's still a far cry from the best way to save. My favorite vehicle that has the 2 benefits of a Roth has 4 additional benefits that Roths will never have. So simply put, when is a Roth conversion a good idea? To me, never. Because why would you own a Roth when you can have the 2 benefits of a Roth and 4 additional benefits that are way better than Roths? And so I'm going to explain them here. But if you want to learn more as you hear this, you can click on the link below and make sure you claim your free copy of my most recent best-selling book, The Laser Fund. It retails for $20, but I'll buy the book for you. I'll gift it to you for free. You just pay $5.95 shipping and handling, and I'll fire out a copy to you. But let's talk about traditional IRAs and 401ks and why Roths came out in 1997 and the 2 benefits Roths have and the premise on which why most people put money into a Roth. What I call the Laser Fund has 4 additional benefits. That's why I've never owned an IRA or 401k, and I never will. I've never owned a Roth IRA or 401k, and I never will. Learn why. So the premise under the original traditional IRAs and 401ks is that you put in pre-tax money or tax-deductible contributions to an IRA, and you accumulate the money tax-deferred, and then later on when you retire, you agree to pay tax. That's based upon the premise, you're going to be in a lower tax bracket when you retire. Well, that used to be true maybe 35 years ago. But that has not been true for most Americans for the last 25 years. Most Americans in retirement are not in a lower tax bracket because they've been sort of killing their tax deductions while they were funding their IRAs and 401ks, like having a foot on the gas pedal, but the other foot was on the brake pedal. They were paying off their house, killing that deduction. In retirement, you don't contribute money to IRAs and 401ks. You don't have that deduction. If you're a business owner, you lose those deductions. You don't have as many dependents to deduct. People are not in lower tax brackets, plus Congress keeps spending money and they keep raising taxes. So in 1997, Senator Harry Roth, he had an idea because the government, they were hard up for money, tax revenue. And he said, people are getting smart. They're realizing, you know what, it's better to just pay tax on the contribution money, the seed money, I call it, and just pay tax on that, accumulate the money tax-free, and on the back end, when you harvest your money, you don't have to pay tax. And people that are savvy, they realize that's better off if taxes keep going up in the future, which most people agree that's what's going to happen. And so he said, let's name it after me, a Roth. So they came out with the Roth IRA and then later the Roth 401k. You put in after-tax money and it accumulates tax-free, and you can access the money tax-free. Those are the two benefits of a Roth. Well, heavens, I've had those two benefits in a maximum funded indexed universal life insurance contract. I mean, that's the beauty behind it. Insurance policies, when you maximum fund them, they've had these protections, frankly, for more than a century in the Internal Revenue Code. Sections 72E, 7702, 101A have protected money inside of an insurance policy to accumulate tax-free. You can access it tax-free as a living benefit for income, and when you ultimately die, it blossoms, it increases in value and transfers income tax-free. Nothing else does that. And so these have been very instrumental, but a lot of people think, oh, life insurance? I don't need any more life insurance. Doesn't that cost you money? No. E.F. Hutton in 1980 came up with the idea of universal life originally as a living benefit. In other words, instead of trying to get X amount of insurance for the least premium, you do the opposite. You're trying to put in the most premium the IRS will allow and take the least amount of death benefit the IRS will let you get away with. And as fast as they allow you to put in the money, it turns into a tax-free cash cow. It means that I have been able to earn 7 to 10%. Yes, net, cash on cash, tax-free. It means my money, if I put in 100 grand a year, 500,000, 10,000, 1,000 a month, my money grows between 6 to 10% tax-free rates of return. There are some years I've earned 25%, even 55%. Other years I don't make anything, but I don't lose because my money's not in the market. And so that's taught in our various educational videos on this channel. It's called indexing. The point is this. I can accumulate my money tax-free. 7 to 10% will double your money every 7 to 10 years based upon Rule of 72. If you don't know what that is, search it on this channel. And so every million that I accumulate tax-free by the time I retire and want to start taking income can generate 60 to 100,000 a year of tax-free income for 20, 30, 40 years without depleting principal. Very few investments can do that. It has the benefits of a Roth. My money accumulates tax-free. I can access it tax-free. But there's 4 additional benefits. What are they? In a nutshell, a max-funded, tax-advantaged, indexed universal life insurance contract. Again, you're putting in the most money, taking the least death benefit. It's what I call the laser fund. And if you click on the link below, you can get a free copy of my most recent best-selling book, The Laser Fund, How to Diversify and Create the Foundation for a Tax-Free Retirement. I think that retirees should have 40 to 60% of their income be totally tax-free. Not even show up on their 1040 tax return. The IRS knows they're getting the money. They know everything, but they know it's tax-free. So why does it have additional advantages that Roths don't have? With a laser fund, I can put in 200,000, 300,000 a year. I can put in $1 million a year. We have people doing that. You can't do that with a Roth. You're limited. If I structure it to accommodate 300,000 a year and I only put in 30,000, that means I could have put in 300 or another 270,000. Well, with a laser fund, I can make that up whenever I want. I can put in 270,000 the second, third, fourth year, plus the full 300 on top of that. With a Roth, if you don't use the room in a given tax year, you lose it forever. You can't make up for what you could have contributed in previous years. So the laser fund is far more flexible. I can put in way more money, and if I don't maximum fund it, I can always put it in later and make up for those years. But here's another big advantage. If I were to put in, let's say, $300,000, and I needed some money for a business opportunity or an emergency, or I got laid off, I lost my job, I put in $300,000. 30 days later, I could access $250,000 with an electronic funds transfer phone call. I don't have to prove why I need the money. I can access it, and there's no penalties. The IRS doesn't assess penalties. With Roths, you would pay a penalty, 10%. You have to wait till you're 59 and a half for 5 years to avoid penalties. I don't want those strings attached. So that is another big advantage. Now, with the laser fund, you are able to earn money based upon what the market does with indexing, but your money is not invested or at risk in the market. You ought to search on this channel or read my book, The Laser Fund. When you click this link down here, claim your free copy, and you'll learn about indexing, where you make money when the market goes up, but when the market goes down, you don't lose because your money really is not invested in the market. And I'm not talking about index mutual funds. A lot of advisors do not understand indexing as a strategy. So I can participate when the market does well and not lose when the market goes down. And that's what causes a lot of people in retirement to lose money and not be able to have predictable cash flow. Most of the time, they only dare take out 3.5 or 4% because the market is really only averaging that for them. Whereas I can take out 8%, 10% on $1 million nest egg. That's $80,000 a year of income instead of $40,000 if my money's in the market. The last reason or benefit of a laser fund is it blossoms when you pass away, because none of us are getting out of here alive. I don't mean out of this video session. I mean out of this life. And so I'm 68. Now, let me explain it this way. If I died tomorrow in an accident, every million I would have in my laser funds would instantly blossom to about 2.5 million and transfer totally income tax-free to my wife, my spouse, heirs, children, grandchildren, a church, a charity, the Boy Scouts, the Red Cross, whoever I want to leave it to. There's not a Roth around that will say, oh, we feel so sorry. He passed away. He had $1 million in there, but we're going to give you 2.5 million and it's totally tax-free. They can't do that. They won't do that. But a laser fund does. And people ask, how much does that cost? The way that I structure it, nothing. Now, nothing's free, but I'm not paying for that. It's being paid for with a minuscule portion of money, interest, that would otherwise go out the window in unnecessary tax if I put my money in traditional IRAs and 401ks. So the answer to the question, when is a Roth conversion a good idea? I would say never. If it is a good idea, it's a far cry from the best way. I would take the money and get it out of a traditional IRA or 401k, roll it out, it's called a strategic rollout, and put it into a max-funded laser fund, and you will knock the socks off of any Roth out there. And so click on the link below and get a free copy of my book. I'll show you how to do this. So simply go to laserfund.com. In fact, right here, laserfund.com, and you simply pay $5.95 shipping and handling, which is frankly not quite enough to cover the shipping and handling, but I'll pay for the book. You pay for the shipping. Then there's options there if you like to listen and learn and watch and learn. But get a copy of this book. It's 300 pages. It's actually 2 books in one. One is the left brain side, 200 pages of charts, graphs, and explanations, 14 chapters. Or if you learn more by stories and examples, you're a right brain thinker, you flip it over and you read this 100 pages, 12 chapters, 62 actual client stories. Claim your free copy now. Go to laserfund.com.